We'll give it one more minute. Well, first we'll wait for the camera to work. Look at that. Isn't that obnoxious?
I'm not saying anything. Owl's not moving.
That's all right.
It hasn't been. I think somebody messed with it. There we go. Of course, now it's gonna be.
He's talking to you. The lights
Okay,
here.
run back and forth and see if I get it, follow me.
I think it works on where voice,
It should be voice, it should be
Yeah.
voice activated more than motion, but they can do both.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what this one
Oh,
does.
there you are.
There you
Oh,
go.
you see, copy, ooh.
It is a complaint though, and there's a lot of chatter in the audience. The owl doesn't know what to do, and then you keep nobody online to hear anything.
It's very confused.
Cause it tunes into the loudest voices.
Yeah, that's like, the crosstalk and everything.
Yeah, it's
Like,
pretty,
what's
it
going
would behoove chairman to try to eliminate that as much as possible.
Yeah, I'm not moving nothing.
Alright.
I can hear somebody,
We don't
Get somebody
behoove.
upstairs.
might be upstairs.
There will be no.
No.
No, it's down here. It sounded like a heavy sigh.
The weight of the world is heavy.
Yes, it is. Let's see if somebody actually appears. We'll give them about 15 seconds.
Thank you, Lee.
All right, let's do this. I'm calling to order the Town of Wellington Board of Selectmen meeting for September 15th, 2025 at 6:30 PM. Welcome everybody in the room and online. If you join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up on the, first I'd like to move that we add an item 3C, the special joint meeting minutes of September 4th, 2025 to the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, so first up, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of September 2nd, 2025? It was a regular meeting.
Yes, I make a motion to approve the minutes of September 2nd. Right, that's what we're,
Yes.
yep, September 2nd. Yep, I didn't see very good minutes. I didn't see anything
That's
missing.
big. Do I hear a second? I moved, you seconded, any
Oh,
other
is that what it was?
discussion?
Okay, you moved. I thought I.
No, you moved.
Matt moved.
Do I hear-
Andy moved.
Andy moved. Do I hear a second?
For which one?
The second?
September
Second for the second?
September 2nd.
A special meeting?
No, this is the regular meeting.
All right, I thought I moved that. All right, let's just do it.
All right. No more discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. You've got two names to put down. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of the special meeting of August 27th, 2025, held in conjunction with the Board of Selectmen at the Ashford, in Ashford, at the Ashford Town Hall?
Yeah, I wasn't there, I can't.
And I will make a motion to accept the minutes from August 27th, 2025 at the Ashford Town Hall.
I will second that. You have no discussion? You have any discussion? I got no discussion.
No, I think it's was accurate. I
All right, it was,
appreciate the names.
hopefully we will, get that underway so that we can, begin retrieving those millions of dollars.
You
from the
just have to
state.
say all in favor.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those abstain?
Abstain.
I think I was supposed to give you a chance to vote nay first, but I didn't.
That's okay.
Because I don't want you voting nay, I want you to vote to abstain.
Yeah, I wasn't there. Do I need it?
Do I hear a motion to accept do I hear a motion to move for the minutes of Thursday, September 4th, the joint meeting with the Wellington Board of Education, the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, and the Capital Improvement Planning Committee? with special guest Representative Tammy Nuccio, Senator Jeff Gordon at the Hall School.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Very good. Any discussion?
No. No.
It was a very long meeting.
And I'm sure everybody said exactly everything.
Yes. So we will be revisiting this topic at him tonight.
I do think that was a pretty good meeting.
I did too.
Thought it was a good meeting. I liked the interactions with everybody. I thought everyone was on point and respectful, and I thought it was pretty good.
Excellent. Me too. All those in favor? Aye. Right, present to speak. Public participation is encouraged. Speakers are limited by appropriateness, staying on topic and maintaining decorum. Time may be limited to maintain progress. Please request to reserve time during the meeting if you wish to speak to a specific agenda item. Is there anybody in the room? Go ahead.
Michelle Cunningham, Liska Road. I wanted to thank you for participating in the joint meeting earlier this month. I also thought it was very productive. And I came tonight because I saw on the agenda that you're gonna have a discussion about the process by which you might, the beginning of that conversation.
Yes.
And I had some thoughts that might relate to that and, wanted
Okay.
to hear what you had to say.
We
So I may have additional
may-
things later at that point, but,
We
I,
welcome those additions.
Yeah.
Okay. Nick, hello.
Nick Tello, Myrtle Road. I had two things. One, I'd like to see the Board of Selectmen move to look at FOIA regulations as far as having where people in the town are not charged for a FOIA request. I know there's some boards out there that are, in my opinion, abusing some costs. And I'd like to be able to kind of nip that in the butt. But at the end of the day, though, the people in the town should have a way to be able to get the information that they need that the town's doing without being charged. Now, as far as how you go about that, that's for further conversation. But I'd like to see the Board of Selectmen at least move down that path. And secondly, I would hope to see that, Peter, you're working with the state police to kind of at least get eyes on Lucian Road. I know we've been having some trouble over there with some younger kids, and it seems like it's only been getting worse over in that area. And I hope that you're working with the appropriate agencies to bring that to an end. So, thank you.
Ralph, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Ralph Tillis, 47 Village Hill Road. Just a minor detail. The agenda that was pushed out via subscription, the Zoom link does not work. I haven't figured out what's wrong, but it just doesn't work. I had to go to the Board of Selectmen's webpage to hook up to the Zoom meeting. That's all.
All right, we'll look into it. Anyone else online? Seeing no other hands, we'll be moving along. Correspondence, I don't have any correspondence. Oh, correction, I do have correspondence. I don't have the letter with me. We've heard from the Department of Transportation. The DOT working with Station 13 and Senator Gordon are looking to transfer some state land in a former right of way in front of the old Station 13 to either the town or the fire department. And I say either or because I really don't remember at this point. So we'll be working on that with the senator's office.
That's good news.
Yeah. And for that, we sincerely thank Senator Gordon and his staff who have been instrumental in pushing that through. Tax refunds. Are we down to 2? Excellent. So, tax refunds. I move that we refund the amount of $181.13 to Melissa G. Mott and Gary A. Mott of 62 Myrtle Road for excessive payments.
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Sign off on this so that,
And David,
yeah, I got it. Where you wrote in date, is that where you wanted?
I didn't, Ashley did.
Oh. I know one of you.
I was just asked to remind you.
Pushy. Secondly, I'd like to move that we refund the amount of $404.68 to James Barkham and Barbara Crotchville.
I'll second.
For excessive payments. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I sincerely apologize to our citizens for my inability to pronounce their names correctly. They've got more than 4 letters. Not your name, it's my inability to cue it. Can you hand those?
Yeah.
Next up, Public Works report. The Public Works has been doing some more roadside mowing. They've done a particularly nice job down here at the intersection of Old Farms and Eldridge. They finished mowing the Cadle Rock property. They're trimming sight lines so that we can reduce some accidents. They mowed the old landfill. They've done some trash collection at the park. They fixed the catch basin at River Road Park for Parks and Rec. They moved donated bleachers from the FedEx to the River Road and Hall School.
Excellent.
They paved some washouts and potholes around town, and they graded Fitchco Road. And I think I'm saying that correctly, but somebody will correct me. They picked up a large quantity of mattresses and a bureau on Kohler Road from illegal dumping. Somebody dumped, I believe it was 10 mattresses and a box spring and some other furniture illegally on the side of the road. The town took care of that. The property owners didn't have the ability to transfer it to the transport it to the transfer station. And so the town absorbed the cost of that. It has been reported to the state police. That the Public Works would like us to remind all the residents that mattresses and box springs are disposed for free at the transfer station as long as they aren't heavily soiled or soaking wet. If they are heavily soiled, there's a $20 fee for bulky disposal. So if it's in reasonable condition, please bring it to the transfer station for free.
Free.
I believe that there is a recycling law where you pay a fee when you buy the mattress to have them disposed of. There are 2 Saturdays remaining for this year's household hazardous waste disposal, September 20th and October 18th, from 9 AM to 2 PM. The collection area is on the left before you enter the gate for the transfer station. There's a large group of experts accepting stuff there. And there's a new bulletin board in between the household trash compactor and the single stream recycling compactor at the transfer station. The board is for announcements, news, and information related to the transfer station, waste disposal, and recycling. Also, if you have any questions, Matt and Bob are very good at answering them. Because we've been having trouble finding replacement workers on weekends. We've got a town resident, Greg Weber is now all signed up. We've put him through the process, so he is a per diem employee and can fill in down there.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's much better to pay people, well, from my point of view, it's nice to have somebody coming in at straight time.
Mhm.
So he has stepped up for that, and for that, I thank Greg. First selectman status report, mostly we've been dealing with, citizen service, making sure that paperwork is getting through in a timely manner. And, what else are we doing? All I know is I was running around all day. Hopefully, we've scheduled training for Rachel for the Everbridge system,
Oh, good.
and I am hoping against hope we have that system up and running before the end of my term. I would really like to see that go out. We had the EPPI emergency management exercise upstairs. This year we focused on droughts and wildfires. And what we would do in these cases, and I think that one of the things that it exposed in our planning is our communication to the town. Essentially, we've got the email system and the website, and we are. Oh, that's another thing. I've recently rebuilt the town's Facebook page after Meta, for reasons they can't even tell us, just erased us, deleted us completely. So everybody's got to, if you would, please go back online and follow the page. It's at Town of Willington, Connecticut. I think that's exactly how I put it. And if you sign back up for it, then you can get the town stuff. We tried very hard to push news information and not politics on that page, so.
Right. What could we do to put a sign up on the town green, electronic sign? Kelly Lee has them, you know, the fire department downtown has them. And it just has things like town meeting this day, that day.
I don't know.
I don't know, just something that when I drive out that way.
Yeah,
Kelly Lee has that nice sign.
yeah,
It's very low profile, it isn't obtrusive. I don't, cause it's on a state road, I don't know if that would be a problem, sight lines, there'd be a lot of discussion.
also with the Historic Commission and Historic
Exactly,
Society.
there'd be a lot
It's
of.
a town green that's been in place for 300 years.
What do you would think that the town has some
Right.
rights to the town green, so.
Yeah,
But I just
we
think
do own it.
Well, that's right.
Did
That's-
research on that.
from 17 something. Thinking as a central area that, I mean, you don't need to, not everyone in town has to see it.
Right,
Because people do talk, but at least it would be one place.
yeah.
And, cause it does seem over and over again that communication or the
Also-
lack thereof.
As far as communication and the town green, I have submitted a third request to DOT after getting no response for the first two. For the intersection of Willington Hill Road and Collins Turnpike, it's 320 and 74. They own both roads. They forked the road, which has essentially created a traffic circle. But most traffic circles go in one direction. This one goes in both directions at the same time, in conjunction with a light that changes with no sight lines. And also the state has encroached outside, has gone outside their right of way onto church property. So I've asked them to take a look at it, and I figure sometime around 2030, 2035, we might get some action.
Yeah, well, that whole hill has changed a lot in the last.
I also have the town public works working with T2, which wish I could remember what T2 stood for.
That's okay.
It's the Traffic Accident Prevention Program for the state that works in conjunction with DOT, but they're separate, they're educational and informational. They work out of a building at UConn, which is nice for us. And they run all the training for local traffic authorities, which local traffic authorities have to attend once a year. And they've got some equipment, and I've got Troy working with them to see what we can find out. We had a recent report, what road was that, Lucian?
Yeah, I think it was Lucian Road.
One of those things out, not working.
Yeah, well, we have one that records speeds, And we had the speeds of 85 and 88 at noon on Lushon Road, so. That's a bit excessive.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, so we're gonna get some more equipment and see what we can do. So that concludes my first selectmen's report, because that's all I could remember. New business. We need a call for a town meeting. I am calling on my selectmen to help me read this. So I will start. Town of Willington, notice and warning of town meeting. The electors of the town of Willington and all persons who are entitled to vote in town meeting on the matters mentioned in the following warning are hereby warned and notified to meet at the Old Town Hall at 11 Common Road in Willington on Tuesday, September 30th, 2025 at 7 p.m. for the following purposes. Item 1. To see if the townspeople, on the recommendation of the Board of Selectmen, will adopt the tax stabilization ordinance. The ordinance reads, Town of Willington, Connecticut. The following ordinance was adopted at town meeting and duly warned and held on blank 2025. We will be filling in the blanks at the town meeting. Ordinance establishing a tax stabilization program in the town of Willington. Purpose. Whereas the state of Connecticut, pursuant to the Connecticut General Statutes, has authorized municipalities to grant certain tax benefits to specific types of energy, agricultural, and business enterprises. And whereas the town of Willington recognizes the need to provide a competitive business climate, and whereas the Economic Development Commission has recommended a tax stabilization program to the Board of Selectmen, and whereas the Board of Selectmen is supportive of the creation of town tax stabilization program. Now, therefore, the Board of Selectmen hereby endorses the following tax stabilization policy by resolution and refers this proposed ordinance to a town meeting acting as a legislative body of the town of Willington, and recommends its adoption pursuant to Connecticut General Statute Section 32-71A, Connecticut General Statute Section 12-65B, and Connecticut General Statute Section 12-81M. Part 1. Pursuant to the General Statutes Section 32-71A, tax stabilization program for certain electric generating facilities. Notwithstanding the provisions of Section Connecticut General Statutes, I think we've got to go Connecticut General Statute Section 32-71. We need to move the word section in the final print. Upon the construction of an, quote, electric generating facility, as such term is defined in Connecticut General Statute Section 16-50I, subsection A, subsection 3, the town's first selectman, upon satisfaction of A and B below, may enter into a tax stabilization agreement as defined below with the owner of such, quote, electric generating facility for a period of not more than 30 years. The town may enter into such tax stabilization agreement only if A, the cost of construction of such electric generating facility is at least $3 million, and the terms of such tax stabilization agreement are approved by the town's legislative body. For the purposes of this Part 1 tax stabilization agreement shall mean a written agreement that fixes the amount of either the annual assessments or annual taxes for the real and personal property of such electric generating facilities, both during and after construction period for the term of the agreement, provided such assessments or taxes as so fixed represent an approximation of the proposed tax liability of such facility based on a reasonable estimation of its fair market value as determined by the town assessor upon exercise of its best efforts. Part 2, pursuant to Connecticut General Statute Section 12-65B, tax stabilization program for certain business enterprises. The town's first selectman, upon satisfaction of both A and B below, may enter into a tax stabilization agreement as defined below with the owners any eligible improvement as defined below for a period of not more than 30 years. The town may enter into such tax stabilization agreement only if the cost of the eligible improvements is at least $1 million, and B, the terms of such tax stabilization agreement are approved by the town's Board of Selectmen. For purposes of part 2, tax stabilization agreement shall mean a written agreement that fixes the amount of either the annual assessments or the annual taxes for such property and all eligible improvements both during and after the construction period for the term of the agreement, provided such assessments or taxes as so fixed represent an approximation of the projected tax liability of such property and eligible improvements based on reasonable estimation of its fair market value as determined by the town assessor upon the exercise of its best efforts. For purposes of this part 2, eligible improvements shall mean personal property improvements or improvements to be constructed, used for at least one of the following: 1, office use; 2, retail use; 3, permanent residential use in connection with a residential property consisting of 4 or more dwelling units; 4, transient residential use in connection with a residential property consisting of 4 or more dwelling units; 5, manufacturing use; 6, warehouse storage or distribution use; 7, structured multi-level parking use necessary in connection with the mass transit system; 8, information technology; 9, recreation facilities; 10, transportation facilities; 11, mixed-use development as defined in Connecticut General Statute Section 8-113M or 12 by or on behalf of a health system as defined in Connecticut General Statute Section 19A-508C. For purposes of this part 2, improvements to be constructed include the rehabilitation of existing structures for retail business use.
Very good job. So I'll continue on to
Yeah.
there. So part 3, pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes, section 1281M, tax stabilization program for certain agricultural businesses. The town's first selectman, upon satisfaction of A and B below, may enter into a tax stabilization agreement as defined below for the owner of any property being operated as an eligible agricultural business as defined below for a period of not more than 30 years. The town may enter into tax stabilization agreement only if A, the terms of such tax stabilization agreement are approved by the town's Board of Selectmen, and B, the terms of such tax stabilization agreement are approved by the town's Board of Finance. For purposes of this part 3, the tax stabilization agreement shall mean a written agreement that fixes the amount of the annual property taxes for such eligible agricultural business, provided such property taxes as so fixed represent an approximation of the projected tax liability for such property based on a reasonable estimation of its fair market value as determined by the town assessor upon exercise of its best efforts. For purposes of part 3, eligible agricultural business shall mean the following properties, provided such property is maintained as a business: 1, dairy farm; 2, fruit orchard, including a winery, including a vineyard for the growing of grapes for wine; 3, vegetable farm; 4, nursery farm; 5, any farm which employs non-traditional farming methods, including but not limited to hydroponic farming; tobacco farm; commercial lobstering business operated on maritime heritage land as defined in Connecticut General Statutes 1210-107B. Part 4, review criteria. In reviewing proposed tax stabilization agreements under part 1, part 2, and part 3, the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance with respect to part 3 may consider the overall impact of the proposed project on the town and the residents of the town, including but not limited to increase in job opportunities and potential growth in the grand list. The town may,
Well, you gotta read part 5.
I'm sorry.
That's all right, you skipped.
Oh, right at the bottom. Part 5, termination provision. Thanks, Steve.
No problem.
The town may include in any tax stabilization agreement, a termination provision that provides for the termination of the agreement if any provision of the agreement is not met. The town may include in any tax stabilization agreement a recapture in the event of sale of such electric generating facility, eligible improvement, or eligible agricultural business as applicable, provided such recapture shall not exceed the original amount of the property taxes abated and may not go back farther than 10 years. Part 6. Keep on that.
Yes, you go down, right down here.
Part 6, part 6, discretion. Nothing in this ordinance shall require the town of Wellington to enter into a tax stabilization agreement. Part 6, administration of tax stabilization policy. The first selectman or its designee shall be responsible for developing an application and review package. Once signed by the first selectman, the assessor will administer any tax stabilization agreement. In accordance, this ordinance shall become effective 15 days after publication thereof in a newspaper having a circulation in the town of Wellington pursuant to the provisions of section 7-57A of the Connecticut General Statutes. Test town clerk.
Yes.
Go down to the next one as well.
No,
Now,
Andy kicks off by.
all right, I'm gonna pick up on item 2. To see if the townspeople, on the recommendation of the Board of Selectmen, will adopt amendments to the Wellington Code of Ordinances as follows. Proposed code adoption ordinance, Town of Wellington. Be it enacted and ordained by the Town of Wellington in town meeting assembled. 1-1, code adopted, existing ordinances continued. The compilation of the ordinances and the general and permanent nature of the Town of Wellington, Town and County, Connecticut. Codified and consolidated into chapters and sections in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof. And consisting of Division 1, chapters 1 through 288, is hereby approved, adopted, ordained, and enacted as the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Wellington, Connecticut, herein referred to as the Code. The provisions of the Code, insofar as they are substantively the same as those of the ordinance in force immediately prior to the enactment of the code by this ordinance, are intended as a continuation of such ordinances and not as new enactments. All such provisions are hereby continued in full force and effect and are hereby reaffirmed as to their adoption by the town. 1-2, code on file, additions and amendments. A copy of the code has been filed in the office of the town clerk and shall remain there for use and examination by the public until final action is taken on this ordinance. Following adoption of this ordinance, such copy shall be certified by the town clerk as provided by law, and such certified copy shall remain on file in the office of the town clerk to be made available to persons desiring to examine the same during all times while said code is in effect. The amendments, additions or amendments to the code, when adopted in such form as to indicate the intent of the town to make them a part thereof, shall be deemed to be incorporated into such code, so that reference to the code of the town of Wellington shall be understood and intended to include such additions and amendments. 1-3, notice publication. The town clerk shall cause this ordinance or a summary of this ordinance to be published in the manner required by law. The enactment and publication of this ordinance, coupled with the filing of the code in the office of the town clerk as provided in section 1-2, shall be deemed, held, and considered to be due and legal publication of all provisions of the code for all purposes. 1-4, severability. Each section of this ordinance and of the code and every part of each section is an independent section or part of a section, and the holding of any section or a part thereof to be unconstitutional, void, or ineffective for any cause shall not be deemed to affect the validity or constitutionality of any other sections or parts thereof. Repealer. Ordinance or parts of ordinances inconsistent with the provisions contained in the code adopted by this ordinance are hereby repealed, provided however that such repeal shall only be to the extent of such inconsistency, and any valid legislation of the town of Wellington which is not in conflict with the provisions of the code shall be deemed to remain in full force and effect. In addition, the following ordinances are specifically repealed. A, the elimination of declaration of property ordinance adopted September 8th, 1978. B, the ordinance regarding participation in the Wyndham Region Council of Governments adopted August 7th, 2007. C, the ordinance prohibiting the storage, disposal, or use of waste from oil and gas exploration or extraction activities or any derivative thereof in the town of Wellington, Connecticut, adopted June 20th, 2017. Ordinance is saved from repeal. The adoption of this code and the repeal of ordinance provided for in section 1-5 of this ordinance shall not affect the following ordinances, rights, and obligations which are hereby expressly saved from repeal. A, any ordinance adopted subsequent to November 19th, 2024. B, any right or liability established, accrued, or incurred under any legislative provision prior to the effective date of this ordinance, or any action or proceeding brought for the enforcement of such right or liability. C, any offense or act committed or done before the effective date of this ordinance in violation of any legislative provision or any penalty, punishment, or forfeiture which may result therefrom. D, any prosecution, indictment, action, suit, or other proceeding pending or any judgment rendered prior to the effective date of this ordinance brought pursuant to any legislative provision. E, any franchise, license, right, easement, or privilege heretofore granted or conferred. F, any ordinance providing for the laying out, opening, altering, widening, relocating, straightening, establishing of grade, changing of name, improvement, acceptance, or vacation of any right of way, easement, street, road, highway, park, or other public place or any portion thereof. G, any ordinance or resolution appropriating money or transferring funds, promising or guaranteeing payment of money or authorizing the issuance and delivery of any bond or other instrument or evidence of the town's indebtedness. H, ordinances authorizing the purchase, sale, lease, dedication, or transfer of property, or any lawful contract, agreement, or obligation. I, the levy or imposition of taxes, assessments or charges, or the approval of the municipal budget. J, all current effective ordinance pertaining to the rate and manner of payment of salaries and compensation of officers and employees. And K, any ordinance relating to or establishing a pension plan or pension fund for municipal employees.
Section 1-7, changes in previously adopted ordinances and preparing the revision and codification of the ordinances, certain minor grammatical and changes were made in one or more of said ordinances. In the interaction of the town meeting, that all such changes be adopted as part of the code, as if the ordinances so changed had been formally amended to read as such. The changes, amendments, or revisions as set forth in Schedule A attached hereto and made a part hereof are made herewith to become effective upon the effective date of this ordinance. Chapter and section number references are to the ordinances as they have been renumbered and appear in the code. The following changes are made throughout the code. The term chairman is amended to read chairperson. The terms zoning enforcement officer and zoning enforcement agent are amended to read zoning agent. The terms director of health and sanitarian are amended to read health official. References to the Department of Environmental Protection and DEP are amended to read Department of Energy and Environmental Protection and DEEP respectively. References to the Commissioner of Environmental Protection are amended to read Commissioner of Energy and Environmental Protection. Section 1-8, altering or tampering with code, penalties for offenses. It shall be unlawful for anyone to change, alter, or tamper with the code in any manner which will cause the laws of the town of Willington to be misrepresented thereby. Anyone violating this section shall be subject to upon conviction to a fine not more than $250. Section 1-9, when effective, this ordinance shall take effect 15 days after publication of the full text or a summary thereof pursuant to the law. First Selectman Peter Tanaka, Selectman G. Andy Marco, Selectman G. Matthew Clark. So, that being said, is there a second? I'll second. For discussion, I'd just like to say that I appreciate our lawyers in helping us come up with the language in this. There are one or two minor changes that I believe can be made at town meeting. Just a sec, I had a thought, got to chase it now. The second one, is because we had money made available through ARPA to put our ordinances into an order that is consistent with the rest of the state and to publish them electronically and to update all of our books. So that's why we're doing that. Did you have something to
No,
say?
you answered it.
Okay,
Ralph has his hand up.
yeah, Ralph has his hand up. Ralph, do you have something?
Yes,
Well-
Ralph Tulis, 47 Village Hill Road. Going back to the tax stabilization.
No, should we close this?
We're still in discussion, so
Yeah, okay.
I'd like to hear the discussion before we close it.
Okay,
Oh,
the
sorry.
term electrical generating facilities is used.
Yes,
And this tax stabilization thing was brought up by a battery storage facility, not a generating facility. I'm questioning the verbiage and suggesting that perhaps electrical infrastructure might be a better description, because I don't think your intent is to limit this only to generating facilities. Just a thought.
yep, go ahead.
I brought it up with the lawyer, that exact issue, Ralph, and he indicated that the terminology used in the law that enables us to enact this ordinance is generating, and that encompasses battery storage, so.
This, as far as electrical generating, the Connecticut Siting Council is also set to hear I believe it's a 10 megawatt solar farm on Losi Road, so.
I'm aware, yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, so I think it covers both.
Okay, I just wanted to make that point, just being
Yeah.
picky about details
And we
like
thank
I
you
tend to
for being
be.
picky. So, any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. I don't have a clean copy, we'll need a clean copy to sign. For all those online who are more visual than auditory, we will be making copies of this available at the town clerk's office and online so that it can be viewed by people who read better than listen, like myself. I read to myself, not out loud.
They listen better than we read, so.
Yeah, hopefully. We've got a second call of the town. It's a much shorter call. It covers the same items. But if we pay by the word to publish in the newspaper and so we researched it. We actually did some research. Under Connecticut General Statute Section 7-3, warning of town and other meetings, we are able to shorten the call as so that we don't break the town budget for notifications. So we will be signing that as well. But in the notice for the newspapers, we do note that a full copy will be made available both online and hard copy here at the town office building. So, that being said, when we get some clean copies, let's let's sign those.
Do you want me to go and make them now?
Let's do this right after, all right? Next, opening the discussion. I don't believe that we're going to be making a motion here. Applications for the school building committee. We've been thinking about this and, Matt, you had a list that you had of,
Yeah, I just thought, just for discussion purposes, we need to start thinking about the school building committee. The Board of Education sent Pete a letter asking the Board of Selectmen to appoint a school building committee. Phil, I think, included a copy of, the last one, is that right? That we did in
parts of it, yes.
2022, I think it was. I'm not exactly sure, but. And, we need to start thinking about how we're going to do this and what this is going to be like. When we were in the meeting, the three of us and the Board of Finance and the Board of Education, all the boards participated. At that time, there was pretty broad agreement anyway that this should be open and transparent, that we should endeavor to have this be a cost-effective proposal, that it moved quickly in order that we can qualify for reimbursement or enhanced reimbursement from the state of Connecticut. With that, I just prepared these things for us to talk about. I mean, I can share this with you guys. It's just draft. I mean, they're just subject areas. There's no decisions or anything, but I thought it'd be better for us to have a smaller board rather than a larger one in order to facilitate decision making. In my experience, smaller groups make quicker decisions and just as good as larger groups. I don't know exactly how many people were on the last school building committee, but I went to 3/4 of the meetings. I think it was over 10. So I would suggest that we do something smaller, maybe just for you guys to think about. Something smaller, maybe 7, something like that. I think you had talked to Tammy previously about how the process they used in Tallinn for their school building project. They had a process for selecting people to serve on the school building committee that was nonpartisan, and I think we're going to be thinking about how to go about doing that, right, Pete?
Yeah, I would, first, after the combination meeting, I've had 2 people send me emails telling me that they're interested in being on the committee, and I think that bodes well for when we finally get to asking. I think what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna ask people to submit their interest in writing, indicating some qualifications. I think that, reading from your list here, Matt, I think that it is essential that we have a member from the Board of Ed and a member from the Board of Finance. People with construction, budgeting experience, construction management experience. And parents. So that we get cross representation of all the parties that have skin in the game.
Yeah, and then also I think we have, I wrote down 2 Wellington taxpayers.
Right, that, I think that if we should have, we're gonna have at least 2 Wellington taxpayers if you have a member of the Board of Ed and a member of Board of Finance, but I think that everybody that has some experience in this, and I think everybody should be a board of, be a taxpayer in Wellington.
Oh, no, absolutely.
So,
Right, in addition to the
Right.
folks that have specialized interest and capabilities.
right,
I
just,
think we have two people who just simply pay taxes.
Right.
They have no interest, no capabilities, just their taxpayers.
right, so. How we pick these people of hopefully a large pool is it's been a topic of discussion. And I think what we need to do is, what I would like to see is copy the town of Talent where they took, one Democrat and one Republican off their board. We have a much smaller board, so I would eliminate myself from that and ask you two to sit on that selection committee to select the members. And then have somebody with some construction knowledge, so I would put Troy on the committee as well and have the three of you go over the applications and figure out what our best committee is. Also, I was reading the charge as the outline of the charge that I got from Phil today, and I really like to discuss some of it with Phil before but I don't understand, and I prefer to have some understanding before I open my mouth. So I think I'm gonna be meeting with Phil as soon as possible. And the other thing is, I think I'd like to plan a special meeting. I've got two things that I'd like to discuss, this being one of them. So next Tuesday, Monday's being booked up for meeting rooms. Next Tuesday at 6:30, that would be Tuesday, the 23rd, and we will be warning that meeting as soon as possible.
And the purpose of that meeting
Would be to discuss setting up a committee to select the committee and to firm up what we're looking for in an application from committee members. And to discuss the charge and how we want the committee to be formed.
Yeah.
So there's when I say that, I mean, technically, who votes? Who votes on forming the committee, that kind of
Yeah.
thing, so,
Yeah.
and there, it turns out that there's a lot of variables that go into that decision.
Sure.
Which is another thing I wanna talk to Phil about, because I obviously wasn't the first selectman last time, and boy, getting up and running on this information is not simple, so. If we have anything else, you said you wanted to say something to this, on this topic?
I did, because you have reiterated what you had said at the other meeting, so
Right.
thank you for that. I think your plan to make it as nonpartisan as possible is the way we have to attend to this.
Right.
Because no matter who gets elected, all of us have to work together to make this happen.
Yes,
So I would encourage you to have some kind of a process that allows you to have the way they do in legal courts when they're picking juries. I don't know, I was watching the Lincoln Lawyer
Right.
summer when I was sick. I can't remember
all
what the
three
term,
seasons,
I can't remember, I don't
outstanding,
remember the Latin word that they called it.
board year.
Yeah, thank you, that's it, that's the piece where the lawyer can say that
Mhm.
juror, for no reason, but they
Yeah.
have like three
Yeah,
dismissals for no purpose. Then I think you may want some kind of a process that allows the political parties to weigh in. And
Right.
whether it's because you have two different people from different parties, both on the ballot,
right,
represented, but I think you're gonna want some kind of a process to keep people off of the board, even if they may be eligible in other ways or have certain expertise that might be too divisive, that might be lightning
I
rods,
think
because we can't move fast enough if we have to resolve conflict at every single meeting. So I'd just like you to think a little bit deeper about the process by which you might, and that was just one idea,
Mhm.
thank you, Lincoln.
that was,
As some way to minimize conflict. Because if we have to deal with the conflict of, that comes up, we're not gonna make the deadline. So, I think that would be really good. I would also very strongly encourage you to have a woman on your board of selection. So if it's the two of you and, and Troy, I know you all have the town of Wellington, it's best at your heart, but, it's just really bad optics that all of the decisions are made by men.
Yeah.
Here, all the decisions about who gets to sit at the table are men. Just saying, we would like to see ourselves represented
Yeah.
at both tables.
okay,
Okay.
all right, James.
Hi guys, can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Jim Marshall, Fisher Hill Road. Thanks for giving me the opportunity real quick. I know you guys are very early in the process. And I'll offer just this really initial bit of advice as somebody who deals pretty regularly with school building committees of various makeups and across the spectrum. Foremost is going to be about the management of a very large multi-million-dollar construction project and gathering the data on behalf of the community for the community to decide about at referendum before it gets to a construction project. The most successful iterations of this and management of this process comes across from those when committees have relevant industry experience. It'll be about managing construction contracts. It'll be about managing just general construction oversight and financing. The importance of nominating and developing a committee that has a strong focus and representation of construction, design, project management related trades, it will be of critical importance, particularly given the schedule that we're up against. I can't emphasize that largely enough. While forming the committee as quickly as possible might be advisable, waiting for the right people to be appointed may also make sense, rather than filling a seat because we feel we have to move. I think qualifications are really going to have to drive this ship, and to that point, I think it's the right idea. Is this a townwide venture for the members of the committee to be town residents? That's great. So you'll have taxpayers as every member of the committee. I think just having a random taxpayer in there, while may have been advisable in the last iteration of this committee will not be really responsible for developing the path of these projects forward. They've been developed. We are working on advancing data based on legislation and legislative needs. So I'd urge you guys to really focus on industry experience. And I think Matt's right. A 7 voting member committee is probably a good target. Bear in mind, it can't be too small because there is a lot of work. This is going to be a lot of work. There will need to be delegation. There will need to be plenty of people who can work on these without every discussion being a full-fledged meeting call. So I'd encourage that. I'd also consider Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, and Board of Ed members potentially being represented as advisory, non-voting members, and just leave it as the appointed members of the committee being the voting block that is responsible for managing the direction of the project. Because bottom line, it really is just managing a construction project with professional assistance. So that's it.
We've had discussion on whether the board members should be voting members or not. We've been throwing that back and forth, and we see the positives and negatives to both. So we're trying to figure out what's best for the town. And
understood and appreciated, gentlemen. Thank you for letting me opine. I appreciate it, and good luck.
Okay.
Looking forward to seeing how the discussions progress. Thanks.
So are we.
I've got a question.
Sure.
Is the body of work that was done by the prior school building committee completely irrelevant?
No,
No, right? I mean,
No.
are we in a very
not only
strong
no to that.
launching pad?
Yes, we have a very strong launching pad. I think we've got a lot of information from the previous committee
Right,
and some information that's been gathered since then.
so.
And then there's been legislative information that we have to stay within those guidelines
So,
if we expect the payback that we do, so.
sounds like there's a very strong foundation,
Yeah.
so this time frame to me does not seem unrealistic based on the work that was
It's-
already done. Now, some things are gonna have to be revisited
Right,
and massaged and tuned up and brought current. But it seems like the bulk of it has been done.
well, I think a lot of it has been done, but
I could be wrong.
we need a make sure that we have something that.
Absolutely, no, of course, no, I'm
Close
not,
to pass.
I'm not trying to minimize the
Right,
value
no,
of the
we
committee.
have, oh, no,
That's a good
and
place to
also
be.
when you start watching, as I have over the years, the speed of government,
Yes,
It's astounding,
it's
isn't it?
astoundingly slow.
it is,
It's astoundingly slow.
no, that's good though, so all
Alright.
of that information is
So,
available.
yeah, and we will
And
be
can be
meeting again
organized
next Tuesday to see whether
Very
we've got additional stuff that we can help.
And there we will decide on, or at least discuss.
Discuss.
Start to decide on.
Right,
The charge, and
And-
the scope of the charge.
and what we're looking for applications to the committee,
Right,
so that we can say, please give us your name, your residence,
Yeah,
your experience
Why-
in this, your
why you
experience in
want-
that,
why you-
and then a short paragraph on why you're interested. And then I think we should be calling people in to interview. So,
and man, I got a question for you, just, you did some good work here. If it's agreed that everybody on the school building committee is a Wellington taxpayer, not that they would have to be,
yeah,
would that satisfy your
no,
thought about, you still think they should be lay people that have no
sure.
construction experience?
Yeah. Why? Because I think one of the key aspects of this is to, as I said in the last meeting that we had on this subject, all the boards, is to propose a project that will be purchased and voted yes on in referendum. And I'm afraid that if we don't include a strong voice for Wellington taxpayers in this, as represented by taxpayers, without construction.
But they're all taxpayers.
That's true.
I mean, I often, when I put myself in that here, and when I vote for a budget, I'm. If the mill rate goes up, I have to pay that too,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm plan on living in this town forever, so. I don't really see why there's a conflict or disassociation.
There's no conflict, there's no disassociation. I just think that we should have people on the board who have construction experience. People on the board who have finance experience, estimating experience, an educator, a parent, and also just simply taxpayers.
Okay,
I don't know why we wouldn't wanna do that, and also I have to disagree, I don't think that this is just simply an implementation exercise. That this board is going to have to decide on a scope
yes,
and a project, and from what has been proposed, and also maybe modify what's been proposed by the Board of Education.
okay.
So I think it's important, but, you know,
All right.
we'll see.
well, let's discuss this further on a week from tomorrow. And I'll be sending out an agenda later this week for that. Cause I've got another project that I'm working on for that. I'm not the wordsmith that I wish I was.
So some of the other things here that I just wanted to talk about.
Oh, go ahead.
So, I think it would be a good idea if we were roughly balanced between the unaffiliated Republican and Democrat. Last school building committee was, not, I don't think it was balanced very well, but, I mean, I could be wrong, I don't know with the affiliation of every single one person, but. Also, I was, you know, one of the things that everybody agrees, I think, in town is that we didn't do a good job communicating last time. So I think we should try and think amongst ourselves about what do we tell this group, this school building committee, about how to communicate. Last time it was, I remember the conversation, we'll put it in the frequently asked questions. I just think we should consider different ways to do this. Maybe it's a quarterly thing.
Yeah.
You know, you have to, maybe it's your report to the school board monthly and the board of selectmen monthly. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what it
I'm not
is.
sure either.
But
Certainly we can look at what the results of the perception that things were communicated well. What were people talking about?
Right.
What did they feel wasn't communicated well?
right,
And we can at least target those things.
yeah,
I think we should, when it comes to that, I am finding how difficult it is to communicate with this town.
Yeah.
Even when you want to, I mean, it's brutal.
It's challenging.
the fact that there's no, print media is going out of, and then, other daily social media is highly siloed. So that you put something on a Facebook page or a website and you miss. This is prejudging a certain population, but we have a population in this town over 75 that doesn't spend a lot of time online. In fact, I know one gentleman in this town who prides himself in never having turned on a computer and never owning a cell phone or a credit card, so.
And the other side,
These people are hard to get a hold of.
on the other side, we have Mr. Toulis.
Yeah, and the other side, we have Mr. Toulis, who's hooked into everything,
Yes,
knows about it before we do.
right, I'm from, yeah, so anyway, I just thought.
I think those are good ideas to,
Important things.
to structure it, and, it's hard to know what to communicate, hindsight's always so clear. But, when you're in the middle of it, like, I didn't think I needed to mention that, and of course, that's the one thing
Yeah.
that people wanted to know about.
All right.
It's a good start, Matt.
Yeah, just
Thanks
a,
for
I
your
mean, just
contribution.
a list of ideas, you know?
It's a good one, good, you gotta start, it's good.
Okay, so now I'm moving on. Old business, animal control update. Things are moving along quite nicely with the animal control update. We've got a draft agreement where we will have a regional animal control run by the town of Stafford and overseen by the resident trooper of Stafford. Because animal control in Stafford falls under the resident trooper.
That's good, though, that is.
Right,
That's all right.
which we had to determine whether it would be better to go to Pollen, where animal control is run by the fire department. So don't ask, because I can't explain it. The way things are going, it looks like Holland is getting their new animal control facility, and if we regionalize, I don't think we will have to modify ours to Department of Ag standards, which could save the town up to $350,000. So that would be a savings right there. We're changing our contract slightly with our animal control officer, so we're not contracting with her directly. We will be contracting with the town of Stafford instead. And we still have the same animal control officer. It's just that instead of going this way around the circle, we're going that way around the circle. Also, I have discussed with Collin County Mutual Aid. Each town has its own contract for communications with animal control. We will be able to go down to one contract, and because of that, there may be significant cost savings.
Oh, good.
Maybe. Nothing is guaranteed.
Right.
But they-
Let the cat out of the bag now.
Yeah, you'll know all
The
this.
problem is that when they first started dispatching animal control, they made certain assumptions which were really reasonable, like the number of dog licenses might have something to do with the number of dog calls. Well, it turns out that those two numbers are entirely independent. Some towns have a lot of dogs and no calls, some towns have no dogs and a lot of calls. And apparently people aren't, licensing their raccoons and possums and stuff, which animal control also handles. But I think this will sincerely, will greatly improve time coverage. Because now we'll be able, instead of having a full timer in Stafford taking care of Stafford, Wellington and Ashford, and a full timer in Talon taking care of Talon, and then part timers floating around here, and then we'll have one scheduling so that we can cover weekends, we can cover nights, we don't have to hire redundant people. And CROG is administrating a grant that will pay up to half of all the salaries if we regionalize. They're encouraging
I
regionalization.
was gonna
So they're
say,
paying half the salaries the first year, a quarter the second, and the third year will be on our own. We are kind of a test bed to see if things work, and we're also,
test bed to see if they work.
yeah. Nobody, they got a regional, animal control for CCOG.
Yeah.
But Prague doesn't have anything, Capital Region doesn't have any regionalization for animal control yet.
Okay.
So we're trying to figure out how to make these things work. Different unions, different employees and vehicles, I've been meeting bi-weekly for months on this.
So Pete, you're the crux of innovative government, right?
That's right, crux of innovative government, write that down. Crux of innovative government, that's.
Sounds
got
good.
All right, so, we're working that out. I think we should be able to save on vehicles,
Yeah.
facilities, staffing. It should
Radios.
work, radios, communication. And it looks like they're making, space, even if we want to bring in some CCOG, towns. So if Ashford decides to join us, they can join us. Right now, they're not interested, but I think that once they see how well we're working out, they may want to. Also, Union is also very interested in joining us now. So,
Really?
yes,
Makes sense.
it's because they have no people in all animals area.
They got more
It's
animals.
like, got like 550 residents. It's insane. So that's the update on that. Moving on in the agenda, so I can go home. Good and welfare, does anybody have anything for good and welfare? I don't have anything right now.
But I don't remember what it was.
I like to congratulate Kathy Lazowski
Lazowski.
So from the library.
from the library, who is retiring after 50 years
Oh, my
of
goodness.
service to the town.
Wow.
So Ralph, I see your hand raised.
Yes, I did. Ralph Tillis, Village Hill Road. My earlier comment at the beginning of this meeting about the web link, I discovered that the problem is at my end after a download and it has nothing to do with the link that is in the agenda. So I apologize for casting any hints of aspersion against anyone. That's all.
Thank you for the update. James, you have something additional to add?
Yeah, just real quick, just making you guys aware, I know you're planning a special meeting for next week. I believe the Board of Ed Tuesday at 6:30 is also planning a special meeting to discuss their ed specs further. So they're kind of related, just giving you a heads up. I know you can't count schedules impossible, but just be aware it's happening.
We'll do what we can to get online. We'll see if the tech upstairs is working. We've been trying to keep that up to date. We seem to have somebody that can't stop touching it. We'll see what we can do, to make sure it's working. Don.
Anyway.
Don. You're muted.
Yeah, okay. I was trying to unmute, but I was also trying to restart my video, and that was a challenge. Anyhow, I just want to address Don Berg, 34 Red Oak Hill, Wellington, Connecticut. I just wanted to advise the board that I met today with Gardner Peterson with regards to revising our site plan for installing solar at Button Hill. I'm aware that I still need to go to P&Z and ZBA for a side yard variance. I just wanted to advise you that I will probably be attending your meeting in 2 weeks.
Great.
That's all.
We'll be happy to see you.
Thanks for the
Okay.
update.
That's
Nick?
all. You can move along to getting home or the next person.
Nick.
Nick Tell, Myrtle Road. So, earlier you hear somebody saying, don't consider identity labels and such. But then right after she says, please consider identity labels. So I just find that interesting and kind of humorous. I exclude Matt for the most part on my comments. He seemed tonight to be actually making probably the most sense and trying to have it actually a board in the future to be as exclusive of all people as possible. With that being said, you know, we're saying don't select people based on political biases and such like that. At the end of the day, no matter what, Democrat, Republican, subconsciously, it's going to happen. But yet we want to have people that are going to be construction resumes, education resumes, supposedly those architects out there, maybe consider them. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe the board is more open-minded, but the tone from Peter and Andy it's not. It seems to be a pro new building, shove it down your throat, and rush, let's get it done. That's the tone that I got today from the meeting.
I didn't hear myself say that at all, man. I didn't hear myself say any of that, so.
I'm speaking on my opinion on what I've heard tonight from you guys. And
Okay.
Excluding Matt. I think Matt was actually probably the most fair out of all three in wanting this to be a fair board. So thank you, Matt, for that. Thank you.
So I believe we just had present to speak. So
We did.
Make a motion to adjourn?
do I hear a
I
second?
said it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.